Welcome to Thoughts in the Chair. Today, I am in Denisha Cooper, Canada. And if you've seen my latest post, you'll see that I was talking to you about spending time with those special people that you don't get to see a lot in the life. And one of the women that was there. I want to share both with you and free. I wanted to go into her details of how she discovered that she even wanted to write the book and what that looked like. So with no further ado, and it's Renita. Renita, hello. Can you share with our audience what it took for you to have a desire to write the book, and how did you start?
So this dates back probably about a decade ago, and I was having a lot of conversations, especially with women. And I would find that when I was discussing things that I was working on, things that I was doing, I would always hear a response of, oh, I wish I could do that. Or they would be talking longingly about things that they wanted to do, dreams that they had, goals that they wanted to accomplish, and they just never actioned them. And I found that a common theme with a lot of women was, I wish I could, but I can't, or I don't know how, or I'm just not the kind of person that is able to accomplish that. So I always had it on my heart that I wanted to empower everyone, but especially women, because I feel like women suffer from this the most, that imposter syndrome. And all of us on some level will struggle with limiting beliefs. And so I had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to find some way to do this. Marinated in the back of my head for several years. And then in 2020, when I had a lot of time on my hands, I sat down and I wrote out an outline for this book, still sat on it again. So, I've been talking to people about this great Les Brown quote that a graveyard is the richest place in the world because it's filled with a lot of unfulfilled dreams. And so I was in danger of falling into that trap myself. And so I decided finally, when a really good friend, a close mutual friend of ours, Renita Chapman, was able to successfully launch 2 books over the past 2 years. And she was a big inspiration for me because she's a person who just goes for it and, makes things happen. And I'm like that in every other aspect of my life, but this was kind of the one area where I still held back a little bit. And so I had to check myself and say, well, the book is relevant for me too, because I'm doing the same things that I'm trying to help other people avoid doing. And so I spent a lot of time doing some research, reflecting on a lot of things, looking at case studies. And so I recently completed the manuscript for my book. It's called Phoenix Within, Rising Above Your Limits, and it addresses what causes the limiting beliefs that we have. So we all suffer from limiting beliefs of some sort, right? And there's different environmental factors, societal factors, things that happen to us going back to childhood. It's one comment that you heard from a teacher, from somebody in the community, from well-meaning adults around you that were trying to protect you, from having a bad experience where something just deterred you from wanting to try it again in the future. It could be the reason why you don't like public speaking, why you don't feel comfortable dancing or singing in front of other people, while you don't have the courage to launch that business that you've always really wanted to do. There's always something that we in our minds think, okay, well, I can't. And to me, can't is a bad word. It's a 4-letter word. I don't believe in can't or realistically. Those are the 2 words that I consciously try to eliminate from my vocabulary, because once you start saying, well, realistically, you're immediately boxing yourself in and limiting what your potential could be. So the book addresses that, and then it goes through, kind of tangible steps that you can do, tools and workshops and exercises to address those limiting beliefs, and then adjust your mindset so you can be more focused on just accomplishing the things that you want to do. And instead of being limited by can't or I wish or I couldn't, it's more so, what do I need to do to make this happen? And I have a rule of thumb. When something scares me, I have to do it at that point, right? So I try to be conscious about not being limited by fear or what others say I can't do or what's not realistic. And so the book just addresses all of that. So I'm really excited. The manuscript just finished. We're in the editing phase now, and it will be coming out in the next few months.
So I have to ask you something, because she's speaking a lot about the things that we talk about in life written. And I wanted to ask her, when you said, when I find myself in a position where I feel like I can't achieve, and I go ahead and go for it, what do you say to yourself? What are the words that you speak to yourself? Do you say, Renita? And do you smack yourself?
Yeah, it really is. You're doing this. That's it. Full stop. There's no pep talk. There's no long dissertation or thought process. It's just you're doing this. And it's, there's certain things when you tell yourself, that you have to, when you get up in the morning, you have to brush your teeth, you have to take a shower, you may not want to, if you have a 9-to-5 job and you have to go to work, you don't want to do certain things sometimes. There's some days where I would just love to just sit on my couch and watch Netflix, but I don't have that option. And so when you look at certain things in your life as this is not an option, then you just make whatever happen, right? And there's one chapter of the book where I talk about motivators that we have. So we are more motivated by negative things than positive things. So for example, if you were facing potentially being unhoused, you would be very motivated to, find the money, find another place to stay, do whatever it needs to do for that not to happen. But you're not going to be as motivated if you need to buy a bigger or nicer house, right? That's a nice to have, but yeah, you're comfortable, right? So if you put yourself in the mindset that this is not an option, I have to do this. And so that's why I always see it. And I've trained myself to just think, as soon as it's one thing if you say, it's not the right move for me, it's not a good choice. But if my only thing is fear, I have to do it. And so I've just forced myself now that as soon as I start feeling scared, I do it. And then that means that I've then accomplished a lot more things than I would have otherwise, because fear is not an excuse. I don't have a choice.
He's saying that we say that you adapt, die, or migrate. And a lot of times in life, we adapt, die, or migrate. And usually we adapt when we're fearful. And we migrate when we are desperate. And then we adapt. You die because we stop living. We stop giving in. We stop pushing ourselves. So her book, and what's the name of the book?
Phoenix Within, Rising Above Your Limit.
And what is it?
It will be launching in May. Yes.
So you'll probably be able to get on Amazon?
Yes, it will be on Amazon.
Thanks so much for that. And I know this is how to the LEC costume chair, but today I have a chairmate. And I wanted to share with you because we had, as you saw in the video before, we had dinner together. She's a phenomenal woman, and who better to encourage you unless you has actually done the research and studied for this book to write it for your piece. So look for that book in
May 2025.
Take care, guys. Lots from Steven and Kori.